Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Shenmue 3. There is an interesting article that came out that is from China, but we have some loose translations. It is not from a human, so we are kind of going through, just what the computer kind of spits out at us. But it's definitely clear enough to get some good details, and it sounds pretty good. I'm really liking what they're saying here. Of course, we haven't gotten a big Shenmue 3 update in quite some time, but it does sound like the game has gotten maybe bigger, and they've gotten a little more ambitious with it. Because, of course, initially with the Kickstarter thing, they said they didn't reach every single one of their stretch goals and stuff. But it does sound pretty good right now. So this was from an interview with Yu Suzuki, the creator, of course, and Hiroki Takeuchi from their G Fusion tour, which happened in China. So here's some of the important details that we have about Shenmue 3. Yu Suzuki describes the new combat as very varied, rich, and more playable. Takeuchi-san elaborates that the goal is to create a combat system that welcomes players of different skill levels, and that a lot of consideration of design and balance went into making combat feel fun for all players. He finishes saying a lot of effort went into the combat. Yu's ambitions are to show a lifelike representation of Chinese martial arts. Some minigames from the original won't return, but there are new ones included that they feel are more interesting. Old minigames confirmed to return are Lucky Hit, Excite QTE, Capsule Toys, and yes, forklifts. That's actually interesting. If I'm being honest, I kind of thought forklifts wouldn't be in. Maybe that was a bit naive, but for people that don't know or remember, that was a big deal when Rio is in Japan, getting money to go to China. Forklifting is not really a thing. Is not really the focus in China. It's very different. So I thought maybe, since it seems like Shenmue 3 would take place all in China, that might not be a thing, but it looks like it is coming back. Lucky Hit, of course, makes a lot of sense. The Capsule Toys they have to have. I'm actually really interested to see what Capsule Toys they do put in. Anyway, as we continue, mini-games will hold greater impact and influence over the wider game because of better integration, and there will be surprises after playing for a while. Takeuchi-san is looking forward to player reactions on this aspect. So yeah, that's interesting. Minigames hold greater impact and influence over the wider game. I don't know exactly what they mean by that. That is intriguing, but it seems like they're going to have it affect maybe core gameplay in a way, or maybe the money you earn is more meaningful, or completing minigames is has a more impact directly in the story, because in Shenmue 1, which I played not that long ago, I'm actually going to start Shenmue 2 up probably after Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out and I beat that, and then move on to replay that, and then newer games after that. Collecting capsule toys and all that doesn't really matter. You just do it to waste time, kind of. They're time-wasting things. So having that affect the main game on a wider scale is interesting comment. Okay, moving on. Yu's comments in 2017 about Shenmue 3 being a 70-30 split between old and new ideas has changed thanks to development advancing and now stands at 50-50. So initially, Yu Suzuki was talking about the majority are old ideas, just trying to bring them to a modern engine and make them look nicer, of course, kind of play on nostalgia a bit, with maybe 30% of the game being new stuff. Now he feels that with the way development's gone, things are going in a more positive way, that now it's like 50-50 classical stuff mixed in with new content, which that's very, very good, of course. Moving on, he also says side quests and the main story will have better integration and form a better closed loop. A better translation might be able to elaborate on this, as the computer threw up the word branch and might be related to you talking about quests that could have branching outcomes. Side quests will no longer be isolated from the main plot. This was apparently considered for the originals, but couldn't be achieved at the time. So yeah, that is the way it worked in the past, is your side quests were your side quests. Help the help this person find their house, go help the cat or something. Like, you could kind of miss that stuff. Get a cutscene with the barber or something. You didn't have to see any of that. It is kind of a cool thing in Shenmue. There's a lot of like optional scenes that do kind of just feel like they're natural part of the life you're living. So you could almost buy them as part of the main story. I didn't think they were integrated badly, but now I guess the side quests more like connect to the main plot. Yu Suzuki also says Shenmue 3 is more of a hardcore game than the originals, because of elements of playability and increased degree of freedom. It seems to be implied Shenmue 3 may take longer to complete than the originals. Yu says Shenmue 1 and 2 are single-week games, meaning the type of games you beat kind of sitting down playing here and there over a single week. And he says 3 is a multi-week game. So he thinks your average player will be playing this game for a few weeks before they beat it, which is interesting. Shenmue 1 is actually really short. A lot of people don't remember that or forget it, I guess. But like I said, I got the Platinum Trophy in Shenmue 1 when the HD collection came out. And I actually beat that game in a very short period of time. A couple sittings. They weren't that long. I'm not sure how long it was. Maybe it was 7 hours or so. I'd like to say I platinumed the game in about 7 hours or something. It was not long at all. Shenmue 2 is quite a bit bigger, but apparently this is a lot bigger than that even. He also talked about players can interact or not interact with content how they choose. So this isn't completely obvious what this is talking about. You kind of think of games that are a little more open-ended. You can kind of approach content in any order, something like Zelda Breath of the Wild or something, where you go into dungeons in different orders or shrines or whatever. But I'm not sure if that's what he means here, like you can approach things and things trigger differently, because in a way, as I mentioned earlier, Shenmue did work like that, where you could kind of skip out on stuff. Sometimes you'll run into something, a cutscene, sometimes you won't, maybe. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about here. Yu Suzuki also implies there's post-game content once the main story has wrapped up. Other storylines to explore and systems to play after completion. Sounds to go beyond just the minigame and combat collection Shenmue 2 had once you cleared the game. So yeah, that's interesting. Something I would not have expected from Shenmue 3 is it sounds like we are actually getting like main post-game content that maybe has a like story and to it, like potentially some like legit additional quests that add maybe more lore or something like that. Definitely not the type of game I would have expected that from, but that sounds really cool. So yeah, that is the article, or what we have translated of it, from the G Fusion Tour interview that Yu Suzuki and Hiroaki Takeuchi did. I'd like to thank Shenmue fan who apparently goes by the handle Spaghetti, who posts this over at the Shenmue Dojo, which is like a Shenmue fan site. Like I said, the interview was, as he called it, machine translated. I said computer earlier. So yeah, it might be a little iffy in certain spots, or maybe if we had a professional translator of Chinese, of course, could really clean this up. But that seemed clear enough. Like I said, a few points are definitely not completely understandable, or what he exactly means. But sometimes that happens anyways. Certain developers say, this is more open-ended, but you don't know exactly what that means until you have your hands on the game. So yeah, that is what we have on Shenmue 3. And like I said, I think it sounds really good. I really like what they're saying here. It sounds like the game has a lot more content than I expected. They're trying to do some more ambitious stuff with weaving side quests and the main story stuff, which I love games that can do that. I immediately think of Persona games and like the Witcher games, where you kind of have these side quests, or not even side quests, but side content that you could skip and technically not finish. Like, you don't need to do all the social links in Persona. In The Witcher, a lot of side quests you don't have to do them, but they do feel more woven into the main story. Like, everything kind of feels like a natural part of the world. And as I said, I think Shenmue actually did that somewhat in the old days, in my opinion. But it's really good to hear that that's more of a focus. because that's definitely my style of game. I love when it feels like something is like natural. You're doing stuff that's avoidable content, but it feels impactful. So yeah, Shenmue 3 is one of those games that has had a interesting life with its promotion, because of course it was a huge announcement when it was first made at E3. The Kickstarter makes some people a little iffy, and of course, like, some of the graphics they've shown, some parts look really good, and then like the faces, people don't like the look of them and stuff like that. But we haven't really got a good look at the game in a long time, outside of like really short teasers. And I do like what they're saying, so hopefully things are on the right track, because it would be awesome if Shenmue 3 is really good. Like I said, I did platinum Shenmue 1 recently, and I would really like to do the same thing with Shenmue 2, and be ready for Shenmue 3 to do the same, possibly. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, even though I didn't grow up a Shenmue fan. It was a series I was kind of respected at a distance, and I am a huge Yakuza fan, and that really promoted me getting in, because I knew it had some inspiration there with its like structure and minigame focus and all that. So really excited to see what comes of this. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. That's the type of videos I like to do here, talk about rumors, news, give some thoughts on it. If you have any of your own, please leave them in the comments below. And we'll see you next time.